This episode is proudly supported by the New Home Electrical Specialist. If you're building new homes out there, you already know electrical is one of those trades where shortcuts show up later and usually at the worst time. The New Home Electrical Specialist focus purely on residential new builds. They understand the sequencing, the pressure, and what builders actually need on site. Clear communication, proper training, proper planning, and work that's done right the first time. If you want an electrical partner who knows how new homes really get built, head to tnhes.com.au to learn more. They're absolute legends. Good morning and welcome to the Good Builder podcast. Today we've got a guest that we haven't heard from for a little while, but we've done a few pods with this guy and he's one of my favorite guests. And I had the pleasure again of working with him in a different capacity in a building organization, which he was actually the superstar of. And if you remember some of our past conversations that we had, I talked about how we used to bring him up at these corporate events and these massive conferences we used to have overseas with the entire GJ Gardner Homes network. And there were hundreds of builders within the network, all to listen to this particular gentleman. They wouldn't listen to me. I'd do my little presentation and I'd wait for Dan. But then, as he had told his story, not everything was sort of glittery behind the scenes as we thought it was in front of the scenes. But he certainly got his business to where it needed to be. He's since sold out of that business and he's started 1,000 feet deep. And as I said, if you're a regular listener, you would have heard from this legend of a gentleman and what he's doing in that cultural and leadership space. But today we're going to talk about a few events where you can actually get involved with this guy. And this is where the rubber hits the road. And this is where I would like all you guys to register, check out some of these things we're going to talk about and actually get to experience what he does for you, because I have over the year and a bit I've been doing the Good Builder and he's kept me sane. Welcoming to the couch today, Urquhart from 1,000 feet deep. How are you, man?
Hey, Az, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks
always
for the intro,
good when
bro.
you're
You're
on.
always too generous.
Mate, it's all the truth. That was all for the people that hadn't listened to the podcast before. We've done plenty with you, and one of the coolest things, obviously, I've got massive respect for yourself, Dan, and your wife Nat and everything. I've worked with you closely at GJ Gardner Homes, and you see this weapon of a builder that when doing it, and then coming on to do the Good Builder, and then actually getting you on a podcast and going, "Hey, Dan, you were such a weapon. What was it like?" And you actually talking frankly about what you went through, I think was the most powerful thing that anyone can do, man. Sharing that lived experience and then, building a culture and a leadership culture that drove your business to where it was. So, mate, I'm good when you're on. I'm always happy when you're on, dude. Like, you are the Good Builder. This is why we have you on. You've been there, you've done that, and now you're helping others become good builders in your particular field, mate. So,
thank you, mate.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, look, I feel like, we see the snapshot of success, don't we? Especially now with social media.
yeah.
So 2 thoughts, bro. Firstly, we sort of had some stuff that we were getting on top of towards, the middle and the end of our time with GJs. One thing we're never good at, although, was social media, mate, marketing, which
Yeah,
is your specialty.
it is.
And even now, I'm a dinosaur in that area. What I've appreciated, and even now doing what we do now, professional partners, professional partners that bring value to your organization. I know we've just been working with Build Mentor, the sales guys. They've helped us no end in regards to sales. You've helped us with marketing
Fantastic.
in the back of the scenes, mate.
Yeah.
And so we have a specialty, and we love what we do. And as builders, we were sort of getting there, mate. We couldn't have done it without professional partners. So right, so good.
No, thank you, Dan.
Big team, mate.
Oh, absolutely, mate. It's all a team, isn't it, Dan? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
and you, same sort of thing. You are a massive partner of ours at the Good Builder, and the things that you do and the things that your company does and your team does, we can't do. So all I'm simply doing is going, "Hey, builders, I'm your little conduit pipe," if you think of it in an electrical sense, and then you kind of go, "Hey, this is the man you need to speak to, or these are the people that you should speak to if this is, part of your agenda of becoming a good builder, I don't think there's anything that can top good leadership and culture in becoming a good builder and actually, like you've
Yeah.
described in past pods, becoming your coach of your team. And I
Yeah,
think
it is.
that's
Yeah, you're right.
it
It's
is, hey, Dan.
foundational, mate. Yeah, my
Yeah.
experience is that it's foundational. Yeah, exactly, bro. It's
Isn't
like
it?
everything
Before
else is a
anything else,
byproduct.
man, everything else is the result of that.
Yeah.
Success comes as a result of that. But that is where it becomes so important, Dan. And I've spoken about you a few times outside of the pod. I wasn't ever geared that way. So,
Mm.
even doing the good builder in itself, you've helped me greatly. Just trying to, nut out where you need to be. What are the foundations of the business? Just don't go and do stuff.
Yeah, good.
Have them there so you can build from them, which is
Mm.
how you drive these things. But today I wanted to talk to you about a few of those sorts of events that you got coming up, Dan. I saw
Mm.
you did one. If you take a look at Dan's social media, I'll drop the links below, and please like and follow and subscribe to 1,000 Feet Deep. I'm not just saying that because Dan's on the pod. The good thing about what Dan actually does on social media is he just doesn't show glitzy photos of him at awards nights and in a nice tuxedo because he would look good. He's a good looking man and just put out those things. What he does is he actually puts out value every single day. And I reckon once or twice a day you're posting because of the stupid algorithm. I probably don't see them all, but I see a fair few of them. And 99% of your posts are just aimed at delivering value to the audience, to the community. You're not going, this is what I love about you, Dan. You're not going, oh, come do this. And we're going to talk about events, but you're not going, come to my event, do this, do that. You're just like, hey, you ever thought about leadership in this way? How do you communicate? Here's, these are the soft skills that you should be looking at as a builder or as a business. There's so much value in what you do, mate, online, socially. So your comment around not being so good at social, I think you're pretty freaking good, man.
We've got a good team now, mate. It doesn't
Yeah.
rely on me, I can tell you that. Thanks, mate. Again, thank you. Yeah, look, we're well into having some really good services for the community. We've got a masterclass workshop that we do every month now.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
what we call a hand, head, heart foundational masterclass. And we get to the bottom of what you talked about at the beginning, bro, which is what are the foundations of leadership? What are the foundations of success? Because a
Yeah.
lot of times as builders and business owners, where we chase byproduct
Yeah. Yeah.
without understanding how to actually get there. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like it is like building a house without a foundation,
Yeah.
because this is what ends up happening is that success actually has weight.
Yeah.
And as success
Absolutely.
bears down on your organization and your team, they've got to be able to carry the weight of success. And if they
Yeah.
can't, things start to break. And
Yeah.
what breaks generally is people, leadership, system and process, customer service,
Yeah.
reputation, cash flow. And those things start to get put under pressure as we start to actually succeed, if you will. And
Yeah.
so sometimes, mate, success is the last thing an organization needs because it's the thing that starts to cause the cracks. So what we
Yeah.
try to do is we work with leaders to make sure that they have a foundation that can carry the weight of success within their organization. And it's
Yeah.
essentially three things, mate. It's leadership, team, and the structure of the organization. They're the
Yeah.
three things that we zero in on, and we give people a game plan in those three areas. And then once integrated, they can carry the weight of success.
Yeah. And that's
Yep.
the thing, Dan. Like, I think the the biggest thing I'm realizing, man, as I'm doing this thing for the past year and a bit, is that like
Mm.
lived experience is like nothing else, man. Like you
Yeah.
can't. A
Yeah.
lot of people, I think there's if I were to listen to anybody, it's people like you, man. People that have been through it, people that have felt the weight of success and carried it and
Yeah.
crumbled underneath it at the same
Yeah.
time. I'm not
Bit of
trying to be
both.
rude here, but you've got to feel it. You've got to understand it. You just can't coach a way of doing something if you can't explain it and you haven't been there. And that's what I love about you. And you're completely correct. I think that's something that I found, Dan, like I've done a couple of businesses and it probably
Mm.
didn't, you think about it more methodically and logically than me. And it didn't ever really click with me until I talked to you at a Good Builder and you started your 1,000 Feet Deep thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought when I had Avondale Homes, build more homes, just build more homes, make more money, build more homes. Let's go, let's go, let's go. But as you go, things start crumbling around you and you're like, and that's why the Good Builder came about, because I'm like, what makes a
Yes.
good builder?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I thought success was selling more homes, selling bigger
Yes.
homes, building these crazy homes. Like that's success, right?
Good thought. Yeah.
But it isn't, because along with that becomes all these other things that put you under pressure, and they're really hard to spot if you haven't been there before.
Mate, it's so very true. So, sales, revenue, reputation, all these things, consistency as a team, it's all a byproduct. It's
Yeah,
all a byproduct of the
I
foundation that you
love it.
built your organization on. And
Yep,
so, again, we would say that it's leadership, it's the team, and it's the organization itself.
yep.
And so, what we do is we go, okay, well, what are the foundations of leadership?
Okay.
What are
Yeah,
the non-negotiables? You and I talked about non-negotiables before. And so we
yeah.
named four foundational aspects of leadership that if you do that, you have a
Mm,
foundation in your leadership. And then we look
yeah,
at team and we go, okay, how does team turn up? What are the metrics of a high-performing team? And
yeah,
so we've got three things that we look at in regards to team. Then we go, okay, what is the foundation of an organization? And we've
yeah.
got four elements that we say that if you look after those things, if you develop those things, if you measure those things, if you empower those things, you will have a structurally sound organization. And
Mm,
so you walk away with a snapshot, a game plan, a recipe for what it is to have a foundation. We don't want to talk about abstract thoughts and nice ideas. We want to talk about how do I build strength into my
yeah,
organization? And one of the questions
yeah,
we ask as right from the
yeah,
beginning, and we ask our guests right now is that, well, I'm the guest, sorry, ask your listeners right now is your organization structurally sound or only momentarily stable?
yeah,
We
yeah,
help you
yeah,
answer that question. We put a
yeah,
foundation under your organization so that you can carry
yeah,
the weight of success. And mate, there's no cutting corners in that area because you're dead right, mate. You sell more homes. That's awesome. And I've been there. And what happened is that we were momentarily stable in the beginning.
yeah,
And then the cracks started to appear. What does this look
yeah,
like? High staff turnover.
yeah,
You turn around as a leader for help and you can't find any
yeah,
because, the guys that are in your team are under stress and pressure and dropping off one by one.
yeah.
It's slipping reputation because you can't keep up with your brand promise. It's
100%.
mistakes and
That's
issues,
what
so
I
you're
saw.
going back. It's
Yeah.
3 steps forward and 5 steps back continually.
It does.
There's
It's weird,
lives are
isn't it?
different.
And you
Yeah.
feel like you're just trapped and you can't get out of it. Like, that's how we felt. We were just like, oh, it
Yeah.
was overwhelming. The pressure, the weight can
Yes.
become overwhelming to where you're like, I don't want to carry this anymore.
And you're in the middle of the game too, it's
Yeah.
game day, you're on and yeah, well, what ends up happening as to your thought, mate, is you
Mm,
get caught in the snowball effect, what we call snowball effect. I don't feel like
okay.
that's a new term, but that's the way we see it.
No.
And what happens is your negative direction actually starts to gain momentum downhill.
Yeah.
And so it's like more pressure, more stress, more team under pressure, more team members leave. Reputation really starts to take a hit because you aren't able to, especially as builders, you aren't able to keep up with the rigors and the pressures of quality control,
Yeah. Yep.
communication, those things that
Yeah.
actually connect us to our client.
Yeah.
The trades and suppliers get frayed because maybe the organization's not there that it needs
Yeah.
to be, the timing of deliveries and all that kind of stuff. Then what tends to happen, mate, is then we make mistakes. So then it's a stress on cash flow. Then our builds start to blow out.
Yeah.
Instead of, 24 weeks, it's 34 weeks. And
Yeah.
what happens is when you get caught in this snowball effect, you're actually in reverse momentum where you're heading down the hill
Oh,
at a rapid rate. The
mate.
last thing is the pressure is carried by the leader. And the
Yeah.
leader is isolated, and the leader's like, "What the hell is going on? Where do I go
Yep.
to from here?"
Yeah.
The idea is to be in front of it, bro. It's to
Yeah.
lay a foundation that can carry the weight of success right from the beginning.
Yeah. I love it, Dan. Mate,
Or
you know
if not
what?
right from the beginning, sometime
Yeah.
arrest the negative momentum and go,
Yeah.
"Hey, look, I've just got to start somewhere." Yeah, because
Yeah.
otherwise, bro, yeah, it's tough. We've
Yeah.
all
You know
been
what?
there.
Yeah,
It's tough.
Dan, mate, you know what I love what you just said, man. You probably see me talk about momentum. I'm a big momentum
Mm.
guy. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
just
bro.
fucking get the momentum going and
Yeah.
fucking crank on, just right. But people always talk about it in that sense of forward momentum. There
Mm,
is, and I've experienced it myself. When you said that, it sent chills down the back of my spine.
mm.
I've experienced the negative momentum. It's mental. And you just are rolling downhill. Things keep getting worse and you can't stop it. Like, you can, but you really have to take some time to stop it. But you can go in a negative momentum way. I've never heard anyone speak about that, but I felt it. And I didn't know what I called it. I just called it going up shit creek
Yeah.
or something else. But like, fuck, Dan, you were completely correct, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really,
Yeah.
really a cool way to think about it and very interesting. And it really is.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the other thing, Dan, is it doesn't matter if you're a builder or a business or a different type of business. This is
That's right.
applicable to everybody. Honestly, if anyone out there is not a builder that listens to our podcast, honestly, and you would have known it anyway, it will be the same sort of thing, mate. It's the same sort of thing in business, isn't it?
It really is, mate. And you can have negative momentum and positive momentum
Yeah.
in, like, there's departments and areas of our business, of course,
Yeah.
builder or no builder, isn't there? And so you can have positive cash flows and negative team culture. You
Yeah.
can have things that are opposing. Essentially, what we're
Yeah.
trying to do here as is align businesses so they can carry the weight of
Good
continual
way.
success. You know,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
sometimes what we do is we measure revenues and profit.
Yeah.
Well, what I would say is that's a measure. It can't be the measure because
Yeah.
essentially what happens if you don't have foundation, sooner or later, the cracks will appear. And so if
Yeah.
you've got negative momentum in team alignment, healthy culture and performance, but you've got positive cash flow and you're making money, the thing is it can give you a false sense of security. Now, I'm not trying to be negative here. It happened to us in our organization. When we first kicked off, we
Mm.
were we were doing really well,
Yeah.
but I hadn't done the work of leadership yet. And so what ended
Yeah.
up happening is those positive cash flow and profit scenarios in time caught up with where we really were as an organization. And
Yeah.
where we were as an organization was we were unable to carry the rigors of consistency and
Yeah.
success. So things started to stall. And then I'm like, oh, what's
Yeah.
going on here? And I thought, you do a good job as a builder and people will just keep on buying. But I didn't have a strong sales team. And so that brought some momentum. And then of course, things start to slow down, revenues start to dry up, profits start to drop off. Then I realized that, oh, it wasn't just sales. I don't have, I don't have a really strong team here. And
Yeah.
as in my ignorance, mate, I didn't mean to do this, but I'm like, oh, you just can't find good people. If you want something
Yeah.
done right, you got to do it
Everyone
yourself.
says it.
But really what was happening is I hadn't done the work of leadership. I
That
hadn't
is
laid
it.
the foundation.
That is it, Dan. I've done it plenty of times too. I'm not going to be a hypocrite here, mate. Like I'm always like, oh, I've done it before in my past business. I can't find anybody. What I need to do is
Yeah.
get another me. What an egotistical fuckwit. Anyone who says that, seriously, I need another me. Fuck me,
Right.
mate. Who the fuck do you think you are? And
Wow.
and I over as I've gotten older and more mature and talk to you, I started thinking, I'm like, and I thought about past employees that I think didn't perform. And I'm like, I never gave them the chance. I never fucking gave them the chance. And I feel I'm so sorry to anyone that had worked for me and I'd done that to you. You don't understand it until you've lived it and you've done it and you've talked to someone like you. And that's for real. Like that is the truth, man, because it's so common to hear that phrase. I wish I could hire another me, or I just can't
Yeah.
find people. There's no good
Yes.
people out there.
Yes.
There are lots of good people out there. You're just not instructing them right. You're not leading them correctly. It's like
Mate,
a good builder. I don't think there's a builder out there that wants to be a bad builder. I think they all
no.
want to be good builders, but they don't know how.
Yeah, bro. I
That's it,
love
man.
your honesty there. It's really the first step, bro. It's just
Yeah.
being able to evaluate where you are
Yeah.
is honestly the first step. And
But
so
you need
whether
help.
you
You've helped me do that though, Dan. And this is why I
yeah.
wanted to talk. Sorry to cut you, mate, but that's why I
No,
want to
bro,
talk about
go
these
for it.
events and this
Yeah.
stuff is because you've helped me. Like this has been probably the last 6 to 9 months after talking to you. And I know I haven't finished the course, but I've had a good look at it and I've gone through
Good.
it. And
Of course,
it
mate.
does get me thinking about different things. And we talk offline and I start to look at things and where I'm at as a leader and what I've done in the past. And you think about all these things and what I've said in the past. And you're like, yeah, man, like you just didn't have your shit together.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to face the reality, I think, as a person, as a man, as a woman, as a business person, that you don't have your shit together and you
Yeah.
need help. And that's not a weakness. It's something that we all should admit and we should get some help and find some different perspectives because you will do better.
Mate, it's so important. As this is the thought,
Mm.
bro, is that leadership is multifaceted.
Yeah.
Business is multifaceted. Leadership is multifaceted. Like I said, mate, I've had you help me with marketing. Now you're not a
Yeah.
marketer, bro, but because we're
Yeah.
mates, you've just given me some tips in the background. It's not
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
do now. You've moved on to what you're doing and you're doing it
Always
well.
happy to give you tips though, mate.
But you dropped back and you gave me a hand because you could tell we needed it. Now,
Yeah.
now we've got, the semblance of a team pulling that together, and there's some,
It's
we're
good.
getting some little wins and we've got a lot of improvement. Okay. And then off the back of sales, you see, mate, in my business as a builder,
Yeah.
sales was just never my strong suit, mate. It just never
Yeah.
was. And
Yeah.
so we got help in our business for sales
Yeah.
leadership, sales
Yeah.
training. And
Yeah.
in our new organization, we have gotten help more recently in January this year.
Yeah.
We had a sales expert in Kirby come down
Yeah.
and helped
Cool.
us with some stuff that we really needed help with.
Yeah.
Now, let me just say, mate, if what we're saying is true, and let's assume for a second it is, and that what I'm saying is that the way you lead, leadership, team, and your organizational structure or foundation is what carries the weight of everything else.
Yeah.
It's actually what enables all the byproducts to happen. Consistency,
100%.
reputation, profit,
Yep.
all that.
Yeah.
If what we're saying is true and you don't understand what those ingredients or metrics are, just get help.
Yeah. I
Just
was going to say
hey,
you're setting yourself up for failure. Like
well,
for
yeah,
real.
because
Like I think it's the
we're
hardest
not
thing.
meant to be good at everything. It's
No.
like, yeah,
And when do you get taught
just
to
get
be a
help.
leader, Dan? When do you get taught to be a leader in school, in university, in
Good
anything?
thought.
Where do you really get from someone who's done it? And that's why, yeah, I'm with you, Dan. I think it's so important, mate.
Yes.
So important, man. Well, talking about how important they are, let's talk a little bit about your events because I want to give them a plug and
Yes.
get as many people to them as we can because I believe we have one in about a week. It's going to be March 11th. You've got a webinar. What's that one about, Dan?
We're going to direct people around what those foundational elements are.
Love it.
We're gonna
And they'll walk away with it.
they're gonna walk away with it. You come to our webinar at 12 o'clock on the 11th of this month. You are going to walk away with what the foundational elements of performance is.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about team, and we're going to talk about the organizational structure. You're going to walk away with the game plan, if you will, the ingredients of what to measure and what to look at in regards to your leadership and your team and your organization itself.
Love it.
So, mate, that's like that's a front door into what it is that we're doing. Now, off the back of that, because what's going to happen is that we're in a webinar, you're able to give information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really, really good. It's a good first step.
Yeah.
Off the back of that, we want to make sure that you have support in regards to integration.
Yeah.
Because
that's where it matters.
Information and integration are two different things. If we know something, that's great, but often the problem is not that we don't know it. The problem is that we don't know how to integrate it, or we haven't got the time or emotional energy to integrate it. And so the webinar is more around information. Off the back of that, we have a 1-day masterclass, and that's coming up on the 19th in Newcastle, here at our Leadership Academy
HQ.
here in Newcastle. And so we want to invite as many as possible to come to that. And we're going to help you not only with information, we're going to help you with integration. So we've got our webinar on the 11th, 12 o'clock. Obviously, you'll give the links. And then we've got our 1-day masterclass, mate, coming up on the 19th. And then beyond that, mate, we help people facilitate this. We do programs and coaching, and we turn up for people because, mate, I know how hard it was, how hard it is. I've been caught in that snowball effect, bro. It's tough.
I have.
It's real tough.
Sometimes I feel like I'm still in it, Dan. I'm still in a bit of a snowball, mate. I'm still kind of, you kind of, like you said, like it's a good builder too, man. We go like 10 steps forward and then you're like, oh, fuck, I don't have the foundation to actually do any of this work and actually have the emotional capacity to sometimes. So then I'm like backwards. And like you said, there are things that go forwards and backwards. There really are. And they happen at different times. And it is so good, I think, to get some clarity around that. And it sounds like that March 11th one, first of all, for anyone that doesn't know the program, and it is a webinar, so you can tune in from anywhere around Australia at 12 p.m. We'll put a link below, as you said, Dan.
Yeah, great.
I would freaking just have a look at it because I'd done this sort of stuff with Dan, this initial sort of stuff, and it really started to make sense for me finally.
Yeah.
leadership and setting a proper foundation because I didn't know. I mean, and I'm old. Like I look 30 because I'm half Asian, but when you'd never freaking learn this stuff. And I'd worked in a lot of big businesses, Kmart, worked for
Yeah.
Kmart, man, biggest retailer in Australia. Didn't learn how to be a leader. Went to
Mm.
GJ Gardner Homes, like loved it. We were a corporate team that had other leaders leading other leaders, and you were leaders in your own businesses. It was really hard to try and fit in as a leader because you're like, wait a minute, they're business owners, and you got the master franchisee, and then you got
Yeah.
that. It's a really hard thing. So,
Mm.
yeah, I don't think many people actually. I think the term natural born leader, I think there's very few and far between, man.
It's a fallacy, it's a
I do
fallacy.
too. I was going to say that. I was testing the waters with you, Dan, but I think
Yeah.
it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit, man. I
It is
think
a
there are
fallacy,
any
mate.
natural born leaders. I think you learn along the way in some capacity, but you can never be a natural born leader. It's just not
Yeah.
that way.
Let's talk obstacle for a second, okay? Because there's people out there listening to us and they're like, I don't feel like what we're saying is too far from reality. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe people have overcome this, but if they've overcome it, they have a foundation and they know how to turn up every day and they know what works.
Yeah.
They've got the ingredients. They've found it, learn it or found it for themselves.
Yeah.
For those who are like scratching their head and going, yeah, it sounds good. Let's talk about what's going to block you. Let's talk about what obstacles you're going to have. Because being born a leader is a fallacy. Now, I will say this, that I was not a natural born leader. So in other words, in my friend group growing up, I was never the standout. I was never the one that led the way. But I will say this, there always is. In any
Yeah.
group, there's somebody who just stands tall and seems to
Assumes
just
the.
correct. Yeah, that's right. So I'm not saying that people don't carry leadership in their personality. I'm not saying that at all. But there's a difference between being naturally gifted as somebody who, for whatever reason, carries a fair bit of influence,
Yeah. And
and
can lead well.
somebody that's
Yeah.
right, and somebody who is a deliberate leader.
Yeah.
Somebody who's a deliberate leader has a recipe. They understand what influence is, and they
Yeah.
understand how to grow their influence,
Yeah.
and that is learned.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
here's what's going to block you straight up. What we talk about, we've talked about this before, but they're your listeners out there, our listeners, they're going to fall into three categories of mindset.
Yeah.
You're going to have a worker mindset,
Yeah.
a manager's mindset, or a
Yeah.
leadership mindset.
Yeah.
Now, this is the tension that we manage in the trade, in builders, as carpenters, as plumbers, the area of construction. Now, it's beyond that, of course, but especially construction because we're trained to be workers. We're trained to turn up and to rip in. We're trained to believe that we move the needle through workload. So what happens is that when we talk about hand, head, heart, we're talking about skill set, mindset, and character. And so what happens is the construction industry really trains strongly on skill set.
Yeah.
So that's that worker part of our mind. It's like, yep, work. I'm going to move the needle for work. So I go and I buy a building business. I'd already been in the industry for 20 years. It's not as if I didn't have skill set down. I'm not saying I couldn't improve, but skill set wasn't the problem, bro. The problem was that I moved into a leadership position, owning my own construction business with a worker mentality.
Yeah.
Now, let me just say this for our listeners as well. If you as a leader don't grow, what you lead will shrink.
Yeah.
And I moved into an organization that needed me to have a leadership mindset. I had a worker mindset, and nearly automatically what I bought into started to shrink back down.
Yeah.
Because, mate, I was running a leadership organization like it was a carpentry crew with one apprentice.
Yeah.
And so what's going to block our listeners today is that if you have a worker's mindset, you see time as something to spend.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
A leader's mindset understands that time has itself some categories.
Yeah.
And these are the categories of time. Time you spend, time you let others spend on you or for you, and time you invest. Now, bro, if you think about time like money, what happens with money if you spend more money than you actually make?
Yeah. Well,
you don't have any when you need it most.
Yeah. No.
These courses and this stuff we're talking about today is an investment of your time. You don't have the time. I agree with you. You won't have the time to do this. But what's going to block you is your mindset. You're going to go, all sounds great, but I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
My team's just not ready for that. I'm too busy. What I'd love for your listeners to understand is that somewhere without change, nothing is going to change.
Yeah.
A leadership mindset is focused on getting everything done.
Yeah.
And that takes time and emotional energy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somehow you're going to need to
Yeah.
pull yourself out of the weeds. You're going to need to pull back, and you're going to need to start to invest in yourself, in your
Yeah.
mindset, in the way you think, in your team, in the structure and the foundation of your organization. And if you don't, success is the last thing you need.
Yeah.
It'll
I'm with
start
you,
to
Dan.
bear down on you. It'll bear down on your
Yeah.
team. It'll bear down on your systems and processes, and it'll hurt when you need it least.
Yeah. You'll end up running away from it, Dan, I think. That's what I was trying to do. Like, just
That's
talking
what
from
I
a
did, mate.
personal
Yep.
perspective. Yeah, same with you, man. Like, I remember saying to my wife, when COVID hit, Dan, we got really busy because things went
Yeah.
digital, and we were busy. I've never earned so much money in my life.
There you
Bought
go.
my wife a Tesla Model X at $180,000 when I was pissed on a night, and just bought it over the internet. That's ridiculous. But I was never happy, and I got to a point where I was like, I think I just want to get a caravan, go up to Agnes Water, 1770, which is an old
Beautiful
town
spot.
up north,
Yeah. Love it.
and I want a mud crab, and I don't want any money, and all I want to do is eat the things I catch. I was going to go full primitive, like full caveman. I was like, I'm out of this world, man. And that
Yeah.
was the weight of success. When you think, I'm just saying, when you can go and do
Yes,
that with
bro.
money, you think, mate, I've made it. I can buy my wife nearly a 200K car over the internet, not give a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. And I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
So,
Well, mate, it's so true, Az, and I love the fact that you're so honest about this, bro, because, mate, this is the pressure that leaders carry, This is the
yeah.
unseen. Hey, I just did a podcast with Eric Growth, Senior.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, mate. Like, this
huge.
guy,
I'm a huge Eels fan, and,
mate,
all
this
the
guy is an absolute
rugby league.
legend. He
Mate, can you
for
hook me
those of
up?
you who don't know, this guy was the strongest rugby league footballer in the 80s. You know what I
Oh,
mean? He was on
100%.
the wing, but he was a monster, mate. But I want to tell you why I'm telling you this story is because at the height of his success, and listen to the podcast, guys, because and
I'll
hopefully
put the
Az
link
will
below.
give you the link, because what I loved about the podcast and what Eric has done, he's been very honest in the past, was at the height of his success in the 80s, and just let me remind everybody, he was in the top 3 of the best footballers in the comp on the wing.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was the strongest runner of the football that the NRL's ever seen. He was a monster.
Yeah.
And what he
Yeah.
talked about, mate, was the insecurity that racked him at times, the imposter syndrome, the fact that he sort of looked at opposition and weighed himself and found in himself that he didn't measure up. He
Fucking
lacked
hell.
the resilience to be able to turn up every week and to the rigors of what was then the New South Wales Rugby League, what is now the NRL. Hey, and the only reason I'm telling this story is because what we would need to understand is that what we see on Instagram, what we see on Facebook, what we hear when we're knocking around for our mates at the pub is the snapshot of success.
Yeah.
There's always a reality in the background. And
Yeah.
we as leaders need to be able to carry the weight of success. We need to be able to turn up and get our teams up for game day. We need to be able to be resilient. We need to be able to work through tough stuff without feeling like we're failing. There's everything that comes against us, and oftentimes as no real support. You're not meant to do leadership alone.
Yeah.
The only reason I tell that story, obviously I want to give the podcast a plug, but I want to give Eric Growth a plug, that he was honest enough to drop back and say, hey, look, I reached the height of success. Mate, this guy was in the invincible side. He scored 21 tries in 14 games.
Yeah. Monster.
Back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And yet he dropped back and said, hey, yeah, that was all good. And you cannot take away from his success. It was absolutely amazing. But here's how I felt in the background. What a legend that he'd do that. What a legend that you would share your struggles and your story, mate. Because leaders need to know, businesses need to know, people need to know, teams need to know that no one's flying. We're all got our stuff. Don't do it alone.
That's it, Dan. And if you do it alone, you don't get that perspective, and that's what can break you quicker. It can break you so much quicker, man, because you just think, you look on Instagram, you're like,
yeah.
Oh, I remember, like, I know I told that story and I wasn't trying to be an egomaniac about buying that stupid car.
No, of course, mate, I've got it.
But, people would have seen that, and I remember, because it's got the back wing doors, right? I can make it dance. The car dances. Fucking dances, man. Crazy shit. And I remember I put it up on Instagram just for fun, not to brag, but to fun. I remember getting messages and people were like, fly, man, fuck, man, that's crazy. But in the back of the scenes, I was like, I hate this fucking shit. I hate this life, but the material Instagram posts, people are like, oh, you're doing so well.
Yeah.
I wasn't a good leader. I didn't have the foundations. It could have been a great, you know what, too, Dan? We actually talked about it yesterday. This is quite funny, and I'm getting a bit personal here, but me and my wife talked yesterday, and she's like, that could have been a great business if you're a good leader. I was like, thanks, darling.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could have been, mate.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing. The cool thing is I'm sitting here with you right now, which is awesome, and I get to talk about my experience and your experience, and this is why we do it, I guess, Dan, you know, because you go through that shit.
It is why we do it, and you know what? You know, mate, like, so getting back to Eric Grove, you know, like he achieved everything he achieved. And you know what? If he doesn't catch himself, you know what he said, that he looks back at his career and he says, what if, maybe I should have this, that, the other. And we're haunted by things that could have been.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, if you didn't learn what you learned when you learn it, you wouldn't be sitting here now.
Yeah,
Mate,
I know,
you and
Dan.
I talked, you know, I'm not peeing your pocket, bro,
Honestly.
but one of the strengths that you bring this community of people is you're a unifier, mate. You put people together. You get things that need to be communicated out into the general public that would not be communicated, mate. You don't know, and I don't want to overstate this, but you don't know how many lives you've saved with some of the conversations you've had on that couch.
Oh,
You
thanks,
don't know
mate.
how many people that you've helped just encourage them for a
You
really
too,
tough
man.
time. So, bro, this is a thought. You know, unless you'd walk the walk that you walked, you wouldn't be sitting in that chair, and you will not know this side of heaven how many people you've helped, bro.
Legend.
And mate, this is
Same with
just
you,
the
Dan.
reality. It's just the reality of life. As we turn up in spaces that we're not ready for, and then we've got to bloody well learn the hard way. Which, you know what? It's all good. It's just the way it is. But what we're talking about today is don't do it alone. You know, honestly, I'm not telling people what to do. I did it alone.
Yeah.
Like your story, bro. 5 minutes into my builder business that I owed nearly $1 million on.
Yeah.
And I had all the ambition and desire in the world.
Yeah.
And 5 years in, mate, I would have given it away.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I wasn't a good builder. It wasn't because we didn't have good people in our team. It was because I couldn't carry the weight of success. I felt like a failure. I was isolated. I wasn't learning. I wasn't growing myself. And so what I was leading was shrinking, and it was suffocating. Mate, when we started to put this stuff together that we're not trying to, that we've turned up in the market and we're going, okay, here you go. We don't know everything, but I tell you what, we've learned the hard way. Here the foundations of success are. Here is how you build team. Here is what teams should be doing. Here is what an organization should look like as far as structure goes. And we're giving people a game plan off all the bad stuff that we didn't learn.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah. You've done it. I've seen it, Dan. That's the other thing. I actually seen it. It's just phenomenal what you've done. And you're just such a giving person. Like, you want to better business and building businesses. I think, you know, also your business comes from a true place of actually trying to support people. I remember, we won't go into it, maybe another podcast, mate, but I've told you some personal dreams and you're like, fucking go for it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's pretty cool.
Mate.
Support.
And I'll tell you what you talked to me about, mate, was right up your alley because of what you've been, what you've seen.
And you know what, Dan? You were the inspiration. Like, when you started, this is the thing. Now we're getting into like you, mate, and we should finish the pod, but you were the one that made me open my eyes and realize a few of these things, because you started to set those foundations in me. You got to help me understand who I am, because I was that guy going, can't find anyone like me. You know, I can't do this, or this is who you are. This is what you do well. I was like, oh, I get it now, Dan. And I had that support. Like, how do I do it? You know, okay, this is what you got to work on. You know, there's just, you can't do it alone, man. It's been life-changing. I know, as I said, I haven't finished the course, and I'm being really honest here. I need to get my ass in gear. And I think, thank you for the time talk. I think I needed that as much as our community. But you make excuses, but what you have done for me so far has genuinely changed my life over the last 12 months. We wouldn't be able to do what we've done at The Good Builder without you, mate. And that's for real. I would have probably been in a similar position where I've gone, oh, bugger this. So it was lucky you were one of the first. Because I'm just learning as I talk to you on these podcasts, mate.
We all are.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all we're ever doing, mate.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time. I'll drop all the links in below there, mate. Just a legend. I love you, honestly. And
I'll be too, Dan.
So there's going to be events March 11th. There is a webinar foundation performance one, which I'm going to put the link below, and I'm going to drop a whole heap of socials. Guys, go to it. It's going to be really cool. Your first introduction to what Dan does.
Yes.
And I think that is just what you need, and it'll open your eyes. As I said, that's what he did to me. We did a podcast. I think, just let me have a look. He's like, just have a look at this program. I was like, oh my God, it's exactly what I need. So check that out. And then March 19th, Dan was saying every month he does the hand, head, heart masterclasses. So if you're part of the program, I believe, Dan, are they in person and you can come to those events if you're part of the program, or is that for anybody there, Dan?
Mate,
Sorry.
It's for anybody. So we're going to have a webinar. Yeah, absolutely. We're having a webinar to open the door to anybody that wants, look, this is the thought again, getting back to what we're talking about. It's special offer of $19 for this webinar. Invest in yourself. You don't have the time. It's invest in your time. It's $19 for the webinar. It's generally $59 or something, but we want people to come. We want people to learn. We want people to hear the information, but also to be able to integrate. Now, the integration piece is the follow-up masterclass. We do it every month. Yeah. Invest in yourself. Cool. Take the time. Invest the money. As like you said, bro, you're good enough to post the links. Also, we have our podcasts, and we have all sorts of different stuff that we do to be able to support, your listeners.
Post them all.
And mate, just invest in yourself, guys. Just, take the time, make the time. You don't have the time, and invest in yourself and your team.
I think there's no better advice, mate. I think no one does it enough. No one invests in themselves enough. It's like I think I've said it a few times when you jumped on the pod, it's like the oxygen mask. Give yourself some oxygen, you can help somebody else. But it's like, give yourself some time, understand who you are, understand what you want to achieve, and everything else in your life becomes better. I've become a better person since talking to you, I believe. Even my wife will say that. I think that's hopefully proof in the pudding. We won't get it on the pod to confirm, though. But anyway, mate, thank you so much for your time. You are such a freaking legend, Dan. As I said, I love you, mate. I love what you do. We'll have all the links below, and I can't wait to hear from everybody that's going to this webinar about how cool it is. So anyone that does, mate, give me their name. Let's get them on the podcast. Let's have a chat about how cool that webinar was.
Sounds right. Nah, mate, that's awesome. Appreciate your support, bro. Good on you.
All right. Catch you, Dan.
Thanks, mate.